I'll see how you handle my soul-devouring blood monument. Suppress him. Xiao Yin sneered coldly, watching as the sacred flame effortlessly pierced through all of the Sin Guard's defenses and wicked essence. The other barriers were utterly ineffective before him. Regardless of the Sin Guard's powerful early one-star Do Xian strength or the potency of his dark origin, he was no match for the sacred flame enveloping Xiao Yin, especially given it was the combined might of two sacred flames. Unless the king of the extraterritorial evil clan descended, any trace of sinister power within the sacred flame's gaze was insignificant. Swoosh! Without delay, the blue stone steel swept over the Sin Guard, radiating immense binding power that completely enveloped his body. Ah! As the blue steel surrounded him, the Sin Guard screamed in agony. The bloody aura permeated his entire being, while the overwhelming binding force instantly suppressed his internal power. With the Sin Guard contained, the dark night dissolved into a wisp of black smoke and vanished. Bang! Bang! Buzz! As the Sin Guard was fully subdued, the source sealing field that had shrouded Shueyu and the others also slowly dissipated. Impressive skills, Brother Xiao Yin, Shueyu remarked, his eyes filled with admiration. In their line of work, survival on the edge of life and death demanded respect for strength over age. Anyone with sufficient power earned respect. What should we do with this guy? Lu Qing asked, stepping forward slightly. I doubt he acted alone. He likely has accomplices nearby, Xiao Yin suggested boldly. And judging by the time they followed us, we could use him as bait to draw them all out and eliminate the threat at once. Good idea, Shueyu responded with a grin. The typical person would have panicked in such a situation, but Xiao Yan's actions had earned Shueyu's respect and trust. This mysterious force, known as Sin, rarely operated alone. Once marked by them, leniency wasn't an option. It was best to wipe them out entirely to avoid future trouble. I agree, Yu Xiaoye chimed in, her opinion influenced by Xiao Yan's recent rescue, which softened her stance toward him. But how can we gauge their strength in numbers? Lu Qing voiced her concern. Without Captain Yu, our main fighting force is absent. If we draw in an enemy too powerful for us, it could be Xiao Yan's strength, although only early one-star Do Xian, posed no fear against a later one-star Do Xian opponent. Plus, Shueyu, an early two-star Do Xian, provided reinforcement. They should be fine, so long as a later two-star Do Xian didn't appear. Have you forgotten who I am? Xiao Yin chuckled. An alchemist? The trio responded in unison, clearly impressed by Xiao Yan's prowess. An alchemist with the dual titles of an early one-star Do Xian fighter and a third-rank Imperial-class alchemist, a combination that earned him the highest esteem. An alchemist's immense soul strength allowed not only the creation of powerful elixirs, but also served as a potent tool for gathering intelligence and sensing danger. While Earth affinity experts could assess risk based on terrain, they were limited by range and tedious methods. An alchemist, however, could release expansive soul senses, instantly mapping any hidden threats in detail. This elevated the alchemist to a status beyond ordinary beings. Stand guard for me. I'll probe his memory to uncover any clues, Xiao Yin instructed, using his soul power to scan the area for any matching energies before turning to Shueyu and the others. Leave it to me, Brother Xiao Yin. Your safety is guaranteed, Shueyu replied confidently. You wretched brat, the Sin Guard spat, trembling as Xiao Yin approached. What are you planning? I'll have you know I belong to Sin. If you dare touch me, our forces won't spare you. The bluish-yellow flames just now clearly emanated the fluctuations of two types of sacred flames. Though faint, the Sin Guard was certain of it, while Shueyu and the other two naturally did not notice. It's fine, relax, Xiao Yin gently approached the Sin Guard's side, looking at the figure within the bloody blue stone tablet, and couldn't help but speak. The soul-devouring blood monument truly lived up to its reputation, possessing both bloodthirsty power and the power of confinement. With a few additional deceptive maneuvers and primarily using sealing combat techniques, once struck by the blue stone tablet, the target would be completely suppressed. The suppression was not just in terms of strength, but even the mind and body would be restricted and bound. This was the most terrifying aspect of sealing combat techniques. How dare you violate our sin? You will die a horrible death. Seeing no way out, the Sin Guard roared in fury, his gaze filled with resolve, as his do chi surged violently within him. Not good, he's going to self-destruct. Lu Qing was the first to speak. To think he'd try to self-destruct in front of a third-rank Imperial-class alchemist like me, he's dreaming. Xiao Yin shook his head upon seeing this, then his gaze sharpened, and the brilliant power of his soul surged out, heading directly into the suppressed Sin Guard's body. Gulps. The powerful do chi in the Sin Guard's body immediately quieted down, and even his pupils filled with a deep, mysterious energy, mirroring Xiao Yan's own expression. This is Yu Xiaoya, though the eldest daughter of the Yu family, had never encountered such a situation before, and couldn't help but ask. Shu, don't make a sound and disturb him, Shueyu whispered softly. This is a special soul detection technique unique to alchemists. It allows them to use their own soul power to probe others' memories, Shueyu explained quietly. This guy is so strong. I wonder if I'll run into him at the Eastern Continent competition, Lu Qing murmured. The three of them grew more alert as they stood by the altar. Whoosh! Xiao Yan's soul power was immense and immediately surged into the Sin Guard's body, flowing through his limbs and bones, heading straight for his brain, the central hub of memory. If he wanted to probe memories, the brain's central region was the most complete place for them. Whoosh! What is this? Just as Xiao Yan's soul power flowed into the Sin Guard's body unimpeded, heading for the brain's central area, he initially encountered no obstacles. However, halfway there, he encountered an issue. The brain's central region was where the most complete memories were stored. If Xiao Yan could enter it, he would undoubtedly be able to uncover all of the Sin Guard's memories. Yet, the path to the brain's central region was blocked by a massive blacklight barrier. This blacklight beam tightly blocked the only path to the brain's central hub. Despite the absence of any terrifying fluctuations around it, for some reason, when Xiao Yan focused on this seemingly ordinary blacklight barrier, a sense of dizziness slowly began to creep up on him. This barrier is quite powerful. After a brief test, Xiao Yan was somewhat helpless. The black light beam in front of him was complex and its power beyond what he could deal with. Is it the power of evil? Judging by its appearance, this black light beam must have a significant origin. But that works in my favor. Use the Blood River Bell to absorb it. I haven't charged up the Blood River Bell yet. With such brilliant energy, it will be perfect as fertilizer. The Devourer of Souls suddenly laughed. This power is so evil. Is it safe? Although both the soul-devouring talisman and Blood River Bell were from the ghost realm, Xiao Yan still felt some concern. Don't worry, the power of these ghostly soldiers is much stronger than you think. If they can't even absorb this level of evil power, the title of Ghost Realm Soldiers would be a joke. Besides, even though this is the evil power of the extraterritorial evil clan, it's too weak to pose any real threat to the Ghost Realm Soldiers. If their true king were to descend, that would be a different story. The Devourer of Souls spoke with disdain. Xiao Yan's face darkened at the remark. Blood River Bell, it's up to you. Moments later, the exquisite little bell appeared in Xiao Yan's hand, and he silently muttered, "Ring, ring, ring." As soon as the Blood River Bell was tossed into the air, a sharp, ear-piercing sound rang out, and a bloody stench immediately spread from it. With the appearance of this bloody aura, Xiao Yan's breathing and the flow of his do chi slowed dramatically. This Blood River Bell is no simple artifact. Observing this scene, Xiao Yan couldn't help but comment. After all, just a slight release of the Blood River Bell's power was already so overwhelming. Swish! In the next moment, the Devourer of Souls aura suddenly surged. An eerie and chilling ghostly energy enveloped Xiao Yan's figure. The purpose of this was naturally to shield Xiao Yan from the oppressive power of the Blood River Bell. Seems like there's a chance. Xiao Yan's focus was on the Blood River Bell, and he didn't notice the aura released by the Devourer of Souls. Otherwise, he might have sensed that this wisp of ghostly energy was far stronger than a typical 3-star Do Xian. Its true peak strength could very well be close to the pinnacle of the Great Thousand Worlds. Jingle, jingle. The Blood River bell emitted a series of sharp, ear-piercing sounds. In an instant, the evil energies surged like a breached dam and were directly swallowed by it. As it absorbed the massive amount of sinister power, Xiao Yin could faintly feel the aura of the Blood River bell slightly intensifying. "Let's go," said the Devourer of Souls after completing this task. Without the obstruction of the evil energy, Xiao Yin effortlessly reached the central nervous hub of the Sin Guard. "Use your soul power to invade it, and you can probe his memories," Xiao Yin murmured to himself, then without hesitation, transformed into a streak of light and dived into the nerve center of the opponent. 5 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. Staring at the fluctuating light sphere before him, the Devourer of Souls couldn't help but feel concerned. This light sphere was the core of the Sin Guard's mind. With Xiao Yin just entering it, the light radiated intensely. Even after several minutes, its brilliance did not dim, causing the Devourer of Souls to worry. Xiao Yan's current form was composed of soul energy, and any mishap could affect his essence. How is it? 10 minutes later, Xiao Yan's soul form emerged from the light sphere, prompting the Devourer of Souls to ask anxiously. This guy's central mind seems to be sealed with an extremely powerful barrier set by someone. "Even I can't break it," Xiao Yan said, shaking his head right after coming out. "Let's leave first and plan further," the Devourer of Souls suggested, also shaking his head. "All right, let's go." Though this trip wasn't a complete failure, Xiao Yan added as they left, "At least we learned their objectives and personnel layout. The deeper memories, however, are protected by a powerful force, and my current soul power isn't sufficient to break through." After their conversation, the two leapt out of the Sin Guard's body and returned to the altar. The Sin Guard, having had his central mind invaded by Xiao Yin, temporarily fell unconscious. How did it go? As soon as Xiao Yin opened his eyes, Shuiyu and Lu Qing eagerly approached to ask. Lu Qing's urgency was due to her special status. She had joined the Hawkeye Squad on this mission to gain experience in preparation for the Eastern Continent competition. As for Shuiyu, she was wary of the Sin faction's threat and hoped to gather intelligence to eliminate future risks. "There are 3 of them," Xiao Yin said, slowly rising. 3? Shuiyu couldn't hide her surprise. The Sin faction was vast and mysterious. If there were only 3 members, and one was already in their hands, it seemed the remaining 2 could be dealt with even without the captain, just by the 4 of them. Is there something more? Lu Qing, being more observant, noticed a hint of worry in Xiao Yan's expression. "There are only 3 of them," Xiao Yan repeated, "but their strength is as follows. A late 1-star Docian, a late 2-star Docian, and a late 3-star Docian." Xiao Yan finished with a long exhale. When he mentioned the 3-star Docian, he felt a tightness in his chest. With his current strength, he could handle a typical mid or late 1-star Docian, and even a peak 1-star Docian in a desperate fight. However, facing a 2-star Docian, his chances of victory were less than 10% without using the Sacred Flame or his clan mark. Against a 3-star Docian, it would simply be a death sentence. A late 3-star Docian? As Xiao Yan's words settled, Shuiyu, Yu Xiaoya, and Lu Qing all frowned. Their Hawkeye Squad had 2 1-star Docian members, 3 2-star Docian members, and only 1 3-star Docian, Yu Yifeng, who was merely at the mid-level. The power gap between ranks, even within the same star level, was significant. Now they understood why Xiao Yan looked so worried. To handle a late 3-star Docian, we may need the entire squad to deal with it. They weren't entirely certain just how powerful someone at the late 3-star Docian level could be. However, they knew one thing for sure. Yu Yifeng had once managed to kill 3 early 3-star Docian experts despite only being at the mid 3-star Docian stage himself. This alone suggested that the strength of a late 3-star Docian was likely even more overwhelming than Yu Yifeng's. "We have to take them down one by one," someone suggested. "First, we'll lure that late 2-star Docian guy over here and eliminate him. Then, once Captain Yu arrives, we'll combine our efforts to handle the late 3-star Docian," said Xiao Yin with a calculated calm. "Otherwise, if that other late 2-star Docian sticks around, he alone could shift the entire battle. Can we really do this?" Yu Xiaoya and Lu Qing, standing beside him, expressed a bit of apprehension. After all, both of them were only at the early 1-star Dosien level. While they each had some secret techniques up their sleeves, they were nowhere near Xiao Yan's remarkable abilities. I agree with Xiao Yan's proposal. Shueyu smiled at Xiao Yan and added, I'll take the lead in attacking this late 2-star Dosien, and you all can support me. How does that sound? No need to make it so complicated. I just happen to have a formation scroll on hand, which should be enough to trap this guy, Xiao Yan replied with a grin. Then brother Shui, you can take the lead in attacking, since only someone of the same level can deal any real damage to a late 2-star Dosien. A formation scroll? The others stared at Xiao Yan in amazement, almost as if he were some rare creature. An early 1-star Dosien who could defeat a late 1-star Dosien, an alchemist of the 3rd rank Imperial class, and now, a formation scroll? This was becoming a bit too much to take in. Formation scrolls were crafted by formation masters, one of the rarest professions in the Great Thousand Worlds. Owning a powerful formation scroll was something that anyone would envy. Xiao Yan could only smile helplessly in response to their reactions, knowing the scroll was a bluff. In truth, he planned to form a formation on the spot. Formation mastery was rooted in spiritual strength, and spiritual strength had a unique resonance with soul power. As Xiao Yan's soul power had recently advanced, his spiritual power had also quietly grown stronger. The foundation of a formation master's skill was spiritual strength, using it to activate one's natal core inscriptions, from which inscriptions could be woven to form a formation. 1,000 core inscriptions would suffice against a 1-star Do D, while against a 1-star Do Xian, 10,000 would be required. For a 2-star Do Xian, 20,000 were necessary. Based on Xiao Yan's calculations, this particular late 2-star Do Xian would need at least 26,000 core inscriptions to be effectively restrained. In the past, Xiao Yan's formation master training had been rather neglected, with him managing only 4,000 or 5,000 core inscriptions. However, after Mu Yingying's sacrifice and the acquisition of the sacred flame heart, his soul and spiritual power had surged significantly. Half of his natal core inscriptions had already fused successfully, further enhancing his strength. Alright, let's go with this plan. Now, let's discuss our attack strategy in more detail. This time, failure is not an option, Xiao Yan said, looking around at his companions, now reassured. Right. We'll start by using this person as bait. Xiao Yan, use your soul power to draw in the late 2-star Do Xian and trap him in the formation. Shueyu, you'll strike, and so forth. The 4 of them continued their tense discussions around the altar. Meanwhile, on a small mountain a few miles from Sand Mist Village, a lush and tranquil area with a few secluded wooden huts, figures could be seen moving around. Village Chief, the members of the Hawkeye Squad aren't dead. They even managed to capture the mysterious man connected to the extraterritorial evil clan. A lean, agile man reported to the village chief. What? The old village chief, who had been sitting calmly, immediately stood up, shocked. The old chief had no idea that these 3 were members of the Sin faction. But under pressure, he had betrayed the Hawkeye Squad to protect his villagers' lives. What should we do now, Chief? The messenger asked. Sand Mist Village had long relied on the Hawkeye Squad's support, and it felt like a bitter betrayal to turn against them like this. One mistake after another, the chief sighed. No choice now. Gather the villagers. We're leaving this place. He shook his head wearily, knowing that even if they went back, it wouldn't change anything. Plus, he had already told the Hawkeye Squad about the entrance to Ice and Fire Island, somewhat easing his guilt. Yes. The man quickly went off to make the preparations. In the dark passageway beneath Sand Mist Village, 2 men slowly emerged, motionless, their gazes locked on each other. Sin Envoy, your actions have truly crossed the line. You're fully aware that the Hawkeye Squad was hired by me to rescue our clan's trapped expert on Ice and Fire Island. The man cloaked in black, surrounded by ghostly energy, spoke angrily. 10th Soul Lord of the Ghost King Realm, Sol Shang. The man with the word, Sin, engraved on his back sneered. Sin Envoy, I demand an explanation. Sol Shang persisted, his voice a fierce roar. Humph. Sol Shang, don't try to throw your Ghost King Realm's weight around here. We Sin. Fear none of you. As for our attention on the Hawkeye squad, it's merely because they hold the Undying Leaf. Once we get the Undying Leaf, we'll leave them alone, the Sin Envoy replied calmly. The Undying Leaf? Sol Shang's brows furrowed at the mention, clearly disturbed that news of the Undying Leaf had vanished after Han Ye's fall. Indeed, the Sin Envoy responded softly. We Sin and the Ghost King realm are, at the very least, partners. I suggest you avoid disrupting our plans, Sol Shang spat, leaving a warning before vanishing from sight. Humph. The Ghost King realm, just how grand do they think they are? Even the 10,000 Ghost King shows us respect. A minor Soul Lord is hardly worth mentioning. The Sin Envoy scoffed dismissively as Sol Shang's figure disappeared. Meanwhile, Yu Yifeng and his team had gathered the necessary items to enter Ice and Fire Island, heading toward Sand Mist Village. The location of Ice and Fire Island is highly elusive, and its entrance, whenever it appears, is cloaked in an intense blend of ice and fire. This energy is so potent that most strong fighters cannot withstand its terrifying fluctuations, often leading to explosive deaths. Thus, special preparations are required to protect against this power of ice and fire. Ice-fire grass. This rare plant grows in shadowy, damp places. If one finds the entrance to Ice and Fire Island, refining ice-fire grass can create a mysterious seal on the body, weakening the ice and fire energy significantly, reducing the intense pressure upon entering. Strange. Why is the aura of the Sin Guard weakening? In a hidden forest near Sand Mist Village, a figure cloaked in black with the word Sin on his garment looked toward the village. This Sin Guard was here to set up a teleportation formation. The Sin organization was notorious, so whether they secured the Undying Leaf or not, they'd need to leave immediately. If the powerful entities of the Eastern continent detected them, they'd surely press for information on Sin's higher ranks. No matter, the teleportation formation is nearly complete. The Sin Guard shook his head, resuming his task in the forest. Rustling noises suddenly accompanied a faint, powerful aura spreading from Sand Mist Village. This aura was subtle and seemed to diffuse in a specific pattern, almost undetectable to the untrained. Is that a message from the Flower Sin Guard? Is this? They found the Undying Leaf? The Sin Guard couldn't hold back a laugh. Among the Sin Guards, power levels are clearly delineated, with most being 1-star Do Xian or lower. His own strength as a 2-star Do Xian meant that if he could claim credit for locating the Undying Leaf, he'd likely be rewarded with evil power. His status and position would soar, along with his strength, like taking flight. Flower Sin Guard, blame only your own weakness. Consider it an honor to serve as my stepping stone. The Sin Guard smiled, swiftly erasing the mysterious signal before setting off towards Sand Mist Village. Do you think he might fall into the trap? If that 3-star Do Xian shows up, we might, murmured Yu Xiaoya nervously. It was her first time playing this dangerous game of hide-and-seek, and she was visibly tense, though not because of Xiaoyan's presence. In the Yu family, Yu Xiaoya had always been doted on, with a princess-like demeanor. During training, her family often hid their true strength to bolster her confidence. Now, facing a genuine life-and-death situation, her fear was palpable. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, we'll be fine. If that guy really appears, I'm confident I can get everyone out safely. Xiaoyan's voice, calm and powerful, reassured the group as they turned their attention to the unconscious Sin Guard on the altar. At this moment, they stood just outside a small wooden hut on the outer edge of the altar, cloaked by a massive veil of spiritual power cast by Xiaoyan, blending seamlessly with their surroundings. Meanwhile, the unconscious Sin Guard lay at the center of the altar, surrounded by a strange, refined leaf that floated gently, emanating a chilling energy. This item, a carefully crafted illusion conjured by Xiaoyan at great expense of spiritual power, served purely as a decoy. Gulp. A minute passed and still, no one appeared. Only the sound of the wind filled the silence. Another 5 minutes passed, with no sign of anyone arriving. Did I send the wrong signal? Xiaoyan murmured in frustration. But based on this guy's memories, the transmission signal should have been correct. Yet, He knew he couldn't sustain this ruse indefinitely. Keeping up the illusion of the Undying Leaf was already taxing enough, not to mention the spiritual power he was expending to hide their group's presence. If they don't show up in 5 more minutes, we'll have to pull back, he muttered, resigned. Sure, someone's coming. Just as Xiao Yan's thoughts reached this conclusion, a ripple of movement stirred in the void beyond the altar. A dark, sinister aura emerged, coalescing instantly into a humanoid figure. This shadow bore an uncanny resemblance to the unconscious Sin Guard, with the same rugged build, clad in a black cloak marked with the red character for Sin on the back. However, the aura radiating from this figure was far more intense. Heh, Flower Sin Guard, who would have thought you'd fall so low, sneered the newcomer, a late 2-star Docian, as a mocking grin appeared from beneath his hood. Looks like the Undying Leaf was never meant for you. Lucky for me. As he spoke, a crazed energy surged from him, a clear intent to devour the weakened Sin Guard. Now, Xiaoyan commanded, and his team sprang into action. They couldn't allow this 2-star Docian to consume the 1-star Docian, or he would gain power beyond their control. Crash! As Xiao Yan's voice cut through the air, a mysterious force instantly enveloped the once clear sky above the altar. Even the formidable 2-star Docian Sin Guard felt the weight of a palpable, invisible pressure. Take this. Shueyu didn't hesitate, leaping forward as a massive torrent of water energy, dozens of meters wide, surged from her palm. As expected, an ambush. The Sin Guard sneered, seemingly unfazed. He calmly raised his hand, and Shueyu's towering water column dissipated into thin air. Spatial power? Xiao Yin noted, as the entire group, now within his formation, observed the Sin Guard's technique. 1, 2, 3, 4 of you, the Sin Guard remarked, a glimmer of disdain flashing in his eyes. So, you Yifeng only sent 3 1-star Docians and 1 early 2-star Docian. How disappointing. As soon as he finished, his sinister energy erupted, targeting the group with overwhelming force. You Xiaoya, overwhelmed by the oppressive power, collapsed to the ground within the formation, paralyzed by fear. Damn it! Shueyu and Lu Qing exchanged a glance, realizing they couldn't reach Yu Xiaoya in time. Yet they surged forward at full speed in a desperate attempt to save her. Look out! Xiao Yin, seeing the impending danger, abandoned his focus on the formation's core inscriptions. He lunged forward, his body blazing with the fiery Docian power, aiming to intercept the attack before it reached Yu Xiaoya. Boom! The sinister, dark energy tore toward them like a swarm of malevolent shadows, seeming to consume everything in its path. Shueyu and Lu Qing managed to deflect the attacks coming their way, but were too far to aid Yu Xiaoya. Xiao Yan's fiery Docian power obliterated the dark energy aimed at him. But Yu Xiaoya, visibly shaken, sat frozen on the ground. Heroic rescue, is it? Not that easy. The 2-star Docian sneered as he redirected the dark energy toward Yu Xiaoya at a blinding speed, evading Xiao Yan's intervention. Damn it! Die! The Sin Guard at the late 2-star Docian stage sneered, his lips curling into a slow smile as if he could already see the image of Yu Xiaoya's delicate body pierced by evil power. Boom, boom, boom. At that critical moment, Yu Xiaoya only felt as though her delicate body had been violently shoved away, and she was sent flying backward. Oh! Upon noticing this, the Sin Guard at the late 2-star Docian stage cast a few more glances at Xiao Yin. For some reason, he felt an obscure ripple coming from Xiao Yin that made him feel a sense of caution. Die! Xiao Yin instantly knocked Yu Xiaoya's figure aside, and the dazzling evil aura immediately attacked him. Though it was a close call, Xiao Yan's brilliant fire attribute Docian power erupted, completely wiping out the evil energy. Shueyu, give me 3 minutes. Seeing that the immediate crisis was averted, Xiao Yin immediately crossed his legs and spoke to Shueyu. At this moment, Xiao Yin needed to use the natal core inscription to form the formation patterns and inject them into the array to maintain its power. Otherwise, the formation would only remain a prototype and would be incapable of threatening the Sin Guard at the late 2-star Docian stage. Leave it to us. Shueyu and Lu Qing nodded slightly and then charged toward the Sin Guard. I. Yu Xiaoye, who was sitting nearby, appeared at a loss, sitting motionless on the ground. Natal core inscription. Condense? I want to see just how many formation patterns I can condense this time. Xiao Yin muttered, and his brilliant soul force rushed toward his mud pill palace. Threads of the core inscription were condensed and then injected into the formation. As Xiao Yin continuously infused the formation with his soul power, the pressure within the formation began to grow at an alarming rate. A bunch of ants. Since you want to play, I'll play along. The Sin Guard at the late 2-star Do Xian stage snorted coldly. Skywater Pillar. In the next moment, Shueyu unleashed a powerful attack. A massive water column, about 100 feet tall, instantly appeared on her arm. A terrifying power, gentle yet destructive, slowly emerged from the column. Die! With a fierce swing of her arm, Shueyu sent the Skywater Pillar shooting toward him. The water column shook violently as it passed, creating strong ripples. Nice attack, but it's useless against me. The Sin Guard at the late 2-star Do Xian stage seemed to be much stronger than the previous Sin Guard at the 1-star Do Xian stage. Even facing Shueyu's powerful blow, he showed no sign of fear. Dark Evil Hand. As the deadly water column approached, the Sin Guard lightly called out and slowly raised his arm, which was wrapped in a black robe. At the same time, a dark, evil aura emerged from his arm, causing Shueyu and the others' pupils to shake violently. Such evil power. Lu Qing frowned at the sight. The intense dark energy exuded a powerful oppressive force on her. Break for me. As Shueyu's massive water pillar reached the Sin Guard at the late 2-star Do Xian stage, the Sin Guard, already surrounded by evil energy, gently raised his arm and grabbed at it with force. Thud. Thud. The sound of dripping water echoed softly across the altar. How is this possible? Shueyu was shocked as she watched the Sin Guard effortlessly nullify her powerful attack. A tinge of fear crept into her heart. Don't be afraid. Xiaoyan is still here. We just need to buy him some time. Once the formation is fully condensed, this guy is as good as dead. Lu Qing glanced at the meditating Xiao Yin and then, seeing the array on the altar growing stronger, spoke calmly. But his strength is just too great, Shueyu said, her face turning serious. Watch me. Lu Qing's voice was calm, but a brilliant light began to emanate from her body. Light type? How is this possible? The Sin Guard at the late 2-star Do Xian stage suddenly raised his voice, clearly shocked. The evil energy of the extraterritorial evil clan was fundamentally tied to darkness, and they naturally feared light-type power. Light-type? Shueyu, hearing the Sin Guard's exclamation, cast a confused look at Lu Qing. None of them knew Lu Qing's identity. The only person who did was Yu Yifeng. As for the light-type, it was one of the rarest elemental systems in the Great Thousand Worlds, and only one force in the entire world possessed this affinity. Within the Holy Court, powerful light-type warriors gather, devoted to their faith in the divine. Among them, the Angel clan stands out, said to be the last trace of angelic power left in the mortal realm. The most devout followers of the Angels pledge unwavering loyalty to them. Light Song of Listening. A surge of light affinity doqi rose from Lu Qing as her soft lips moved slightly, a mesmerizing sound gently emanating. Not good. Just as Lu Qing launched her attack, a nearby Sin Guard realized the danger, intending to escape. But he found himself rooted to the spot, unable to move. Looking down, he saw two beams of light firmly binding his feet in place. Light. Obliterate the darkness. Lu Qing murmured ancient incantations, her lips moving softly with profound words. Gurgle, gurgle, as she finished. A pure white radiance emerged from her, charged with a supreme power to vanquish all evil, and hurtled toward the Sin Guard. It's too late. The late 2-star Do Xian Sin Guard, sensing he couldn't withstand the attack, quickly gestured to a nearby Sin Guard, pulling him forward as a shield. Boom, boom, boom. The pale light glided effortlessly towards the late 2-star Do Xian Sin Guard. In an instant, it seemed to vanish like a blooming ephemeral flower, its energy compressing violently before erupting in a powerful explosion.